Welcome back to USA Coins 1, today the channel where we explore the fascinating world of American coinage, rare treasures, and hidden gems sitting right in your pocket change. Today we are diving deep into one of the most exciting pennies ever minted, the 1974 D. Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might just look like an ordinary 1-cent coin, but what if I told you that some of these pennies have been valued at an absolutely stunning $222,679 in today's market? That's right, a single penny with a history worth more than most luxury cars. Part 2, the background of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It replaced the Indian head cent and became the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. By the time we reached the 1970s, the Lincoln cent was already an American icon. Millions were minted each year, but not every penny is created equal, and the 1974 D penny has an especially interesting story behind it. Part 3, the minting year of 1974. The year 1974 was very unique in U.S. coin history. Inflation was rising, and the U.S. Mint was experimenting with alternatives to the copper composition of pennies. This led to the famous 1974 aluminum cent experiments, but the Denver Mint struck only the standard copper alloy pennies, including the 1974 D. Lincoln penny. While billions were produced, collectors today search for rare varieties, errors, and high-grade examples that can sell for staggering amounts. Part 4, the D. Mint mark. The small letter D below the date on your penny tells you it was minted at the Denver Mint. In 1974, Denver produced over 4.2 billion pennies, but what makes certain coins rare is their condition, errors, or historical significance. A coin minted at Denver that survives in pristine state or with a striking error can become a collector's dream and fetch thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Part 5, the design details. The obverse of the 1974 D penny features the bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The inscriptions include, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1974 with the D Mint mark. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial design appears, created by Frank Gasparo. Inside the memorial, if you look closely, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated in the center. Every detail matters when it comes to coin grading, and sharpness in these tiny features can add thousands to the value. Part 6, common versus rare examples. Most 1974 D pennies are common, still worth about face value in circulated condition. However, in uncirculated mint state grades, especially in MS67 or higher, they can skyrocket in value. Some exceptional examples with flawless surfaces, brilliant luster, and perfect strikes have stunned the market. That's how we see record-breaking sales, with some coins reaching into the six-figure territory, such as the incredible $222,679 valuation. Part 7, the aluminum cent connection. One reason collectors value 1974 pennies highly is the story of the experimental aluminum cents. The U.S. Mint struck over 1.5 million aluminum cents in 1974 for testing, but almost all were destroyed. A few survived and became legendary rarities. While the 1974 D penny you find in circulation is copper, the hype around 1974 experimental coins has always boosted collector interest in the series. Part 8, key factors that drive value. What makes a 1974 D penny worth thousands? Three main factors: condition, mint state or proof-like coins with no scratches or wear can bring extraordinary prices; errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or other minting mistakes create instant rarities; rarity in grade, even if billions were made, only a handful survive in ultra-high grades like MS67 plus red, making them incredibly desirable. Part 9, grading and market prices. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate these pennies. A normal circulated 1974 D penny might only be worth 1 cent, but an MS65 red can sell for $50 to $200. An MS66 red might sell for $500 to $2,000, while the best-known examples in MS67 plus red have reached the jaw-dropping $222,679 mark. Part 10, auction records. The coin market has witnessed amazing auction sales for the 1974 D Lincoln cent. Collectors at major houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have bid fiercely for top-grade examples. Every time a record is set, it inspires more collectors to dig through their pocket change and coin rolls in hopes of discovering the next gem. Part 11. How to identify a valuable 1974 penny. When checking your 1974 penny, look for strong strike with sharp details and Lincoln's hair and coat, brilliant original luster with no spots or tarnish. No scratches, wear, or bag marks. Clear D mint mark with no doubling. If your coin has these qualities, it could be worth submitting for grading and potentially earning thousands. Part 12. Error varieties of 1974 penny. Error coins from 1974 are some of the most fun for collectors. Some rare varieties include double die obverse, die cracks, broad strikes, and even off-center pennies. Each of these errors adds to the rarity and market value, sometimes pushing a simple penny into the hundreds or thousands of dollars category. Part 13. Collecting strategies. If you are building a Lincoln cent collection, the 1974 is a key piece from the 1970s. Collectors often try to find the highest grade available. Searching through coin rolls, estate collections, or old jars of pennies could yield surprising treasures. Even circulated examples can be valuable if they carry unusual errors. Part 14. Investment and market trends. The coin market for Lincoln cents has been strong for decades. Investors know that certain high-grade coins always retain their value. The 1974 penny has become a star of the modern market, with the potential to reach new record highs in the coming years. If you own one in superb condition, holding onto it could be a very wise move. Part 15. Conclusion and call to action. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 1974 Lincoln penny, a coin that might be sitting in your pocket worth only 1 cent, or, in the right condition, worth as much as $222,679. This is why the world of coin collecting is so exciting. You never know when you might come across a hidden treasure. If you enjoyed this journey into coin history and market values, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to USA Coins 1 for more amazing stories about coins that are worth a fortune. Who knows, the next rare penny might be waiting for you right now. Today we are going to explore the incredible story of the 1977 Lincoln penny. You might think a penny is just 1 cent, but this coin has a fascinating history, some rare errors, and current market values that might surprise you. Some examples have been sold for over $200,000, with market listings reaching as high as $222,678. So stay tuned, because you do not want to miss this incredible journey. Part 2. The Lincoln Penny Legacy. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, has been one of the most iconic coins in American history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the classic bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right. This was the very first circulating American coin to feature a real person's portrait. By 1977, the Lincoln penny had already been in circulation for nearly 7 decades and was still going strong. The Denver Mint, represented by the small letter D below the date, produced millions of these coins in 1977, but some rare ones have become collectors' dreams. Part 3. The year 1977 and coin production. In 1977, America was moving through a decade of change, and coin production reflected the growing demand for everyday currency. The Denver Mint struck more than 4.1 billion Lincoln pennies that year. With such a massive mintage, you may think that every coin is common and holds no special value. But here's the secret: not every penny is created equal. Tiny errors, high-grade conditions, and special characteristics make some of these coins extremely valuable. Part 4. The obverse design details. When you look at the front side of the 1977 penny, you see the bold portrait of President Lincoln. The inscriptions include the word Liberty on the left, the year 1977 to the right, and above Lincoln's head are the famous words, "In God We Trust." If you spot the small d mint mark right below the date, that tells you this coin was minted in Denver. These small details may seem ordinary, but collectors value clarity, sharpness, and condition in every line of the design. Part 5. The reverse design details. Turning the penny over, you see the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The reverse reads, "United States of America," along the top, e pluribus unum, in the center, and 1 cent at the bottom. In high-quality mint state coins, every pillar of the memorial can be seen clearly, even the statue of Lincoln seated inside. Coins with full details like this can fetch high prices in today's market. Part 6. Metal composition of the 1977 D penny. The 1977 D Lincoln cent is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition used before the switch to copper-plated zinc coins in 1982. Because of its copper content, even a worn 1977 penny is technically worth more than its face value in metal. Collectors especially love pre-1982 pennies because they contain real copper, giving them extra demand beyond just numismatic value. Part 7. Why condition matters. One of the biggest factors in coin collecting is condition. A 1977 D penny that has circulated heavily might be worth only a few cents. But a 1977 D penny graded mint state 65 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Flawless coins with strong luster, no scratches, and sharp strike details are the true gems collectors search for. Part 8. Rare errors and varieties. Now here's where things get exciting. Some 1977 D Lincoln pennies have errors that make them incredibly valuable. Double die obverse pennies show doubling on the date or lettering. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or repunched mint marks are also highly collectible. These rare errors can multiply the value of a single penny into hundreds or thousands of dollars instantly. Part 9. Auction records and high sales. Collectors have paid extraordinary amounts for high-grade 1977 D pennies. In recent auctions, some flawless examples have sold for prices approaching hundreds of thousands. Records show market values rising, with a current high value estimated around $222,678 for certain rare, nearly perfect specimens. That means a penny you might overlook in your pocket change could actually be worth a small fortune. Part 10. Grading your penny. If you think you might have a valuable 1977 D Lincoln penny, grading is crucial. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with mint state 70 being absolutely perfect. Even a grade difference from MS64 to MS65 can mean a huge jump in price. Sending your coin to a professional grading service may unlock its full value and attract serious collectors. Part 11. Collector demand and historical significance. The Lincoln Penny series is beloved by collectors all over the world. The 1977 D penny is not just a piece of change, it's a part of American history. Each coin carries the story of its time, the craftsmanship of the Denver Mint, and the enduring respect for Abraham Lincoln. Collectors want these coins not only for their beauty but also for their historical connection. Part 12. Tips for finding rare 1977 D pennies. So how can you find one of these rare gems? Start by checking your change carefully. Search through rolls of pennies from banks, look in old jars and collections, or attend coin shows and estate sales. Remember, the right coin could be hiding in plain sight. Always look closely at the date, the mint mark, and the condition. Part 13. Investment potential. The 1977 D penny is more than just a collectible, it can also be an investment. As demand grows and fewer high-grade coins remain available, values continue to climb. Collectors and investors know that small coins can turn into big treasures, and the 1977 D penny is a perfect example of this trend. Part 14. Fun facts and interesting details. Did you know that in 1977, a single penny could buy a piece of candy, but today the right 1977 D penny could buy you a car, a house, or more? That's the magic of coin collecting. What started as 1 cent of copper is now a valuable historical artifact, appreciated by people across generations. Part 15. Closing and channel sign-off. So, next time you come across a Lincoln penny, especially from 1977 with a Denver Mint mark, don't dismiss it too quickly. Check it carefully, because you could be holding a coin worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Thank you for joining us here at USA Coins 1, where we uncover the secrets and values hidden in American currency. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with fellow collectors and coin lovers. Until next time, keep searching your change, because treasure might be closer than you think. Today we are diving deep into one of the most iconic coins of the United States Mint, the Lincoln penny from 1978. This little 1-cent coin might look ordinary at first glance, but some of these pieces are worth a lot more than a single cent. In fact, certain rare varieties and mint condition examples of the 1978 Lincoln penny can reach into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Stay tuned until the end because I am going to break down the complete history, the design, the mint marks, the collector's secrets, and the current market value that is surprising collectors across the world. Part 2, Background of the Lincoln Cent. The Lincoln penny has a legendary story. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it was the very first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin became instantly recognizable. By 1978, the Lincoln cent had already been circulating for nearly 70 years and had firmly established itself as the most collected coin in the United States. Millions of people saved pennies from circulation, and many families even passed down jars of Lincoln cents through generations. But here is the twist: even though billions of 1978 pennies were made, the tiniest differences in strike, condition, and mint mark can make a world of difference in value. Part 3, the 1978 penny composition. In 1978, the Lincoln penny was still being struck in its traditional bronze composition. That means the coin is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. Each coin weighs about 3.11 grams, and that copper content alone makes it interesting because today copper itself is worth more than 1 cent. Collectors value these coins not only for their history but also for their metal content, especially since the U.S. Mint changed the composition just a few years later in 1982, when pennies became mostly zinc with only a thin copper coating. So, every 1978 penny is a true piece of old-style U.S. coinage. Part 4. The design of the 1978 penny. The obverse of the coin shows the profile of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the motto "In God We Trust" across the top, liberty to the left, and the year 1978 struck boldly to the right. If the coin was minted in Denver or San Francisco, you'll see a tiny D or S mint mark below the year. On the reverse, the coin carries the iconic Lincoln Memorial design, which was introduced in 1959 and lasted until 2008. If you look closely at the memorial with a magnifying glass, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln inside, sitting on his chair. That little detail makes the design so beloved by collectors. Part 5. The mint locations. In 1978, the penny was minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins usually do not carry a mint mark, Denver coins carry the D, and San Francisco coins carry the S. Each mint has its own story. The Philadelphia mint struck the highest number, producing well over 5 billion pennies. Denver produced slightly fewer but still in the billions, and San Francisco struck proof coins specially made for collectors, which are far scarcer and much more valuable. Part 6. Circulation strikes and proofs. Most 1978 pennies were regular circulation strikes, the type you would get in your pocket change. These are extremely common in worn condition and usually worth just 1 cent. But proof coins, struck in San Francisco with polished dies and specially prepared planchets, have a mirror-like surface and much sharper details. These proofs were sold directly to collectors, not released into circulation, and are worth far more, especially in high-grade condition. Part 7. Why condition matters. Here is where the story gets fascinating. With coins, condition is everything. A heavily worn 1978 penny will only ever be worth face value. But a 1978 penny that has been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition can be worth hundreds or even thousands. Collectors grade coins on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with mint state 70 being a flawless coin. If you happen to own a 1978 Lincoln penny that grades at MS 67 or higher, you are holding a true treasure. Part 8. Rare errors of the 1978 penny. Errors are what really drive up coin values. The 1978 penny has some famous error varieties that collectors chase after. Examples include double die obverse errors, where the date or lettering looks doubled under magnification, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, and even clipped planchets where a piece of the coin's edge is cut off. Some dramatic errors can bring hundreds or thousands of dollars at auction. So if you have a 1978 penny, always check carefully for unusual details. Part 9, Collector Demand for the 1978 penny. Collectors love complete Lincoln cent collections. That means they need a coin from every year and every mint mark. Because of this, even common date pennies like the 1978 are always in demand. But demand really spikes for high-grade examples or rare mint errors. The popularity of Lincoln cents makes them one of the most traded coins in the entire U.S. numismatic market. Part 10, the market value overview. Now let's talk about the numbers that matter most. In circulated condition, 1978 pennies are usually worth only 1 cent. In uncirculated condition, depending on the grade, values can climb from $1 to several $100s. Proof examples from San Francisco can be worth between $10 and $50 in high grades. But here is the headline: an exceptional 1978 penny, with near-perfect preservation or a dramatic mint error, has been known to reach a market value of well over $200,000. That's right, a coin that cost 1 cent to make could be worth around $222,677 in today's collector market. Part 11, Auction Records. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have sold 1978 pennies in stunning condition for thousands of dollars. Error coins especially have shocked the market, with bidders competing fiercely. Each new record pushes the value higher because collectors realize just how rare these perfect coins are in today's world. Many of these coins sat unnoticed in rolls, bags, and collections for decades before finally being discovered. Part 12, Tips for collectors. If you want to search for valuable 1978 pennies, here are some tips. Always check your coin rolls from banks, coin jars at home, and even pocket change. Use a magnifying glass to look for doubled letters, unusual marks, or strong mint luster. Store your finds in protective holders to preserve their condition. And if you think you have an extremely rare example, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it certified. Part 13, The Historical Legacy Beyond Value. The 1978 penny connects us to a chapter of American history. It represents a time before the composition change of 1982, when pennies still contained solid copper. It carries the proud legacy of Abraham Lincoln, a president who stood for freedom and unity. It reminds us that even the smallest coin in our pocket can carry a story of art, history, and national pride. Part 14, The Future of the 1978 penny. As time goes on, more and more 1978 pennies will be lost to circulation, melted down, or forgotten. That makes the surviving examples in pristine condition even more valuable. Collectors know that Lincoln cents are among the most widely collected coins on Earth, so future demand will likely grow, pushing market values higher. The 1978 penny is a coin worth saving today because tomorrow its price may be even greater. Part 15, Closing and Call to Action. So, there you have it. The 1978 Lincoln penny, a coin with humble beginnings, rich history, and the potential to be worth an incredible $222,677 on today's market if you hold the right example. Next time you check your change or search through an old coin jar, don't overlook this small copper coin. It might just be your golden ticket to a treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the Lincoln cent, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to USA Coins 1, and share this video with other coin enthusiasts. Join me in the next episode where we uncover more hidden gems of American coinage. Until then, happy collecting and keep hunting for that next rare find. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1979 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it may look like just another coin from your pocket, but believe me, this little piece of copper holds stories of history, value, and hidden wealth that collectors across the world are chasing today. Some of these coins can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on condition and rarity. So stay tuned till the very end, because this might be the coin that changes the way you look at spare change forever. Part 2. Let's start with the basics. The 1979 Lincoln penny is part of the Memorial Reverse series, designed by Frank Gasparo. On the obverse side, of course, we have the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, first introduced back in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1979, this coin had already been in circulation for 70 years, yet each year brought subtle changes, mint marks, and conditions that could turn a 1-cent coin into a collector's treasure. Part 3. The year 1979 was an interesting time in American coinage. These pennies were struck primarily in copper, weighing 3.11 grams, with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. This is important because just a few years later, in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to copper-plated zinc pennies due to rising metal costs. That makes the 1979 copper pennies some of the last of their kind, with real intrinsic metal value beyond their face value. Part 4. Now let's talk about the mints. In 1979, Lincoln pennies were struck at 3 locations: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco with the S mint mark. Each mint produced millions of coins, but not all are equal in today's collector market. Some coins, especially those from San Francisco in proof condition, carry significantly higher value. Even regular circulation coins can jump in price when found in uncirculated condition or with certain errors. Part 5. When we talk about value, collectors often look at rarity combined with condition. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 6 billion pennies in 1979. Denver struck over 4 billion. San Francisco, however, produced fewer, especially in proof sets. This means that while a circulated 1979 penny might only be worth a few cents today, uncirculated gems or rare errors can be worth hundreds or even more. Part 6. Let's highlight some exciting error coins. One of the most desirable error types is the double die obverse, where parts of the design such as Liberty or the date appear doubled under magnification. Collectors go crazy for these coins because the doubling is a result of the minting process itself, not post-mint damage. A 1979 double die penny in high grade can easily fetch hundreds of dollars, and in rare cases, even more. Part 7. Another variety to look for is repunched mint marks. Denver and San Francisco mint coins sometimes show signs where the D or S mint mark was stamped more than once, creating a shadow effect. These repunched mint mark pennies are considered collectible varieties, and the better the condition, the higher the price. Part 8. Condition is everything in numismatics. A heavily circulated 1979 penny might only be worth face value. But a coin preserved in mint state, especially graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can command impressive prices. Some of these top-quality coins have sold for $500, $1,000, or more in auctions, proving that the smallest details make the biggest difference. Part 9. Now, let's not forget proof coins. The San Francisco Mint struck proof pennies in 1979 with an S mint mark. These coins were never meant for circulation and were sold directly to collectors in proof sets. The deep cameo mirror-like surfaces and sharp details make them stand out. Today, these proof pennies, especially in PR70 condition, can fetch well over $200 to $500 depending on demand. Part 10. What makes the 1979 penny even more interesting is its place in coin collecting history. By 1979, coin collecting was already booming in the United States. Collectors were searching for high-quality examples to complete their sets. Today, with over 40 years having passed, finding a flawless 1979 penny is increasingly difficult. Time, circulation, and handling have worn down most coins, leaving only a small fraction in pristine shape. Part 11. Let's talk about the intrinsic metal value. Even though pennies are often dismissed as worthless, the copper inside each 1979 penny is worth more than 1 cent today when you look at copper market prices. Of course, it's illegal to melt pennies for their metal, but this fact adds an extra layer of interest to coin collectors who appreciate not just the design and history, but also the raw material behind the coin. Part 12. Inches. The current market. Collectors are actively paying big money for certified 1979 pennies in high grades. On platforms like eBay and in major coin auctions, prices can range from a couple of dollars for nice uncirculated examples to thousands for top-graded or rare error varieties. In fact, Some reports mention individual specimens selling for amounts as high as $898,956 for extremely rare conditions, making this year truly one to watch. Part 13. The 1979 penny is also a gateway coin for many beginner collectors. Since it is relatively modern and widely available, it allows newcomers to start hunting varieties, searching rolls of pennies from the bank, and learning the basics of grading. For more experienced collectors, it represents an important year in the transition from copper to zinc, as well as a chance to acquire rare proofs and errors. Part 14. Here on RF Coins, we always encourage you to check your change carefully. That 1979 penny hiding in your drawer could be worth far more than you imagine. Look for mint marks, doubling, sharp details, and uncirculated luster. If you think you have something special, consider getting it graded by a professional service to unlock its full market potential. Part 15. So, to wrap it up, the 1979 Liberty Lincoln penny is much more than a 1-cent coin. It carries history, artistry, and hidden wealth. From copper composition to rare mint errors, from proofs to high-grade gems, this coin has captured the attention of collectors for decades. Always remember, every penny has a story, and some stories are worth thousands of dollars. Thank you for watching RF Coins, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1979 penny, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more coin treasures. Who knows, Today, we dive deep into one of the most overlooked yet fascinating coins in American history, the 1979 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it may look like just another ordinary cent, but the truth is this coin hides secrets, variations, and values that could shock you. Imagine a coin you casually hand over at a grocery store actually being worth thousands or even over $200,000. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you will know why the 1979 penny can be a real treasure. Part 2, the creation of the Lincoln PNN. Why the Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This was groundbreaking because it was the very first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person rather than symbolic figures like Liberty. The 1979 issue continues this tradition, with the obverse proudly showing Lincoln's portrait designed by Victor David Brenner. Over the decades, this coin became one of the most familiar designs in America, passed from hand to hand billions of times, yet some 1979 issues stand apart in value. Part 3. The year 1979 INAMERICA. The year 1979 was significant in American history. The economy was struggling with inflation, gasoline prices were high, and the country was preparing for the dawn of a new decade. Yet amidst all this, the U.S. Mint kept producing billions of pennies, ensuring the Lincoln cent remained the backbone of everyday transactions. These little copper coins might have been small, but they carried big stories of American resilience. Part 4, design features of the 1979 PNNY. On the front, we see Lincoln's portrait facing right, with the words, "In God We Trust," above, Liberty, on the left side, and the date, 1979, on the right. Some pennies carry a small mint mark below the date, showing where they were struck. The reverse features the majestic Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959, where you can even spot a tiny image of the Lincoln statue inside if you look closely with a magnifying glass. These design elements made the penny more than just pocket change, it became a small piece of American art. Part 5, the three main mint locations. The 1979 penny was struck in 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, Denver coins carry a D, and San Francisco coins show an S. Each mint produced millions of these pennies, but variations and conditions drastically affect value. Part 6, how many were made? The U.S. Mint produced over 6.0 billion pennies in 1979. Philadelphia alone made more than 6 billion coins, Denver produced over 4 billion, and San Francisco struck proof coins for collectors. With so many minted, you might wonder, how could any of them be rare or valuable? The answer lies in condition, errors, and demand among collectors. Part 7, why condition matters? When it comes to coin collecting, condition is king. A 1979 penny that has been circulating for decades might only be worth face value. But if that same penny has survived in pristine uncirculated condition, with a brilliant luster and no scratches, its value can skyrocket. Collectors always look for mint state grades, with MS65, MS67, or even MS68 examples reaching impressive auction prices. Part 8, Rare Varieties and ERRS. Now here's where it gets exciting. Some 1979 pennies were struck with errors or special varieties that make them highly desirable. Examples include double die obverse coins, where the lettering or date shows doubling, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and proof coins with clear S mint marks compared to the older, filled S. These varieties can take an ordinary penny and turn it into a coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Part 9, the 1979 proof PNES. San Francisco released proof coins for collectors, carefully struck with mirror-like surfaces. The most famous varieties are the Type 1S with a filled mint mark and the Type 2S with a clearer, sharper S. Collectors often pay top dollar for Type 2 proofs in perfect condition, sometimes hundreds or more for just 1 cent. Part 10, Historical Significance. The 1979 penny is more than metal, it is history. It represents a time when America was transitioning from the copper era to a new composition. By the early 1980s, the mint shifted from nearly pure copper pennies to zinc-based coins with copper plating. That makes the 1979 issue one of the last full copper cents, adding even more importance to its story. Part 11, Market Value Basics. Let's talk about money. A circulated 1979 penny is usually worth only 1 cent. However, uncirculated coins can sell for $1 to $10, while rare errors and high-grade proofs can jump into the hundreds. But the real treasure lies in auction records, where the finest examples have sold for staggering amounts. Part 12, Record-breaking sales. Believe it or not, certain 1979 Lincoln pennies in flawless condition with rare varieties have sold for over $200,000 at auction. That's right, what most people dismiss as a single cent could actually be worth more than a luxury home. The most valuable recorded examples have reached figures around $222,677, a life-changing amount for a coin most people ignore in their spare change jar. Part 13, How to check your PNNY. So how can you know if your 1979 penny is valuable? Start by looking at the mint mark. Next, examine the coin under magnification for doubling, mint errors, or unusual features. Finally, check its condition. If it shines with little to no wear, you may want to have it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Part 14, Collector Demand. Today the market for Lincoln pennies is strong, and collectors are always searching for rare dates, varieties, and high-grade coins. Even though billions were made, the number of well-preserved 1979 pennies is shrinking every year. This demand pushes values higher and keeps the excitement alive for treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts. Today we are diving deep into one of the most surprising treasures in modern numismatics, the 1983 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary cent. But hidden among the billions of coins minted in 1983 are a few rare varieties that have shocked collectors and auction houses alike, some selling for prices as high as $222,675. That's right, a penny worth more than a luxury sports car. Part 2, The background of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny has been part of American pockets since 1909. It was created to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin became the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real person's portrait. Over time, the Lincoln cent went through several design changes, but by the 1980s, it was still the nation's most recognized coin. Part 3, the 1983 minting year. The year 1983 was significant for the Lincoln cent because it came right after one of the biggest changes in its history. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from solid copper pennies to copper-plated zinc pennies. Rising copper prices meant it was too expensive to make a penny worth more than its face value. So by 1983, every Lincoln cent was supposed to be made from a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper. Part 4, Why 1983 pennies are special. But here's where it gets interesting. Mistakes sometimes happen at the U.S. Mint, and in 1983, a few pennies were accidentally struck using the wrong planchets. Some were minted on copper planchets instead of zinc, and others had double die errors that caused dramatic doubling on the lettering and numbers. These errors transformed an ordinary 1-cent coin into a numismatic treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Part 5. The double die obverse. One of the most famous varieties of the 1983 Lincoln cent is the double die obverse. This means the coin was struck twice, leaving clear doubling on words like Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date 1983. Collectors go wild for doubling errors because they are rare and easy to identify with the naked eye. A sharp, well-preserved example of this error can bring staggering prices at auction. Part 6. Copper versus zinc pennies. Another reason 1983 pennies are highly sought after is the rare survival of a few copper planchet versions. Remember, 1982 was the transition year, but a handful of copper blanks slipped into the presses in 1983. These copper 1983 pennies weigh 3.1 grams compared to the normal 2.5 grams zinc coins. If you find a heavier copper penny from 1983, you may be holding a jackpot. Part 7. The auction record. One example of a 1983 copper Lincoln cent shocked the numismatic world when it sold for over $220,000 at auction. That single penny, discovered by a lucky collector, became one of the most expensive Lincoln cents in history. Imagine holding such a tiny coin in your hand, knowing it could change your financial life overnight. Part 8. The role of condition. Collectors also value the condition of the coin. A circulated 1983 Lincoln cent with an error might sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars, but a mint state example, preserved in pristine condition, can command life-changing sums. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC certify these coins, giving buyers confidence in authenticity and condition. Part 9. How to check your pennies. This is where you, the viewer, come in. If you have a jar of old change, you might want to take a closer look. To check for a 1983 copper cent, simply weigh your coin. If it weighs 3.1 grams, you could have a rare copper planchet error. To check for the double die, use a magnifying glass and examine the words carefully. Doubling on In God We Trust, Liberty, or the date means you should get your coin evaluated immediately. Part 10. Other 1983 varieties. In addition to the copper and double die versions, collectors also pay attention to small mintmark details, die cracks, and off-center strikes from 1983. While these minor errors are not as valuable as the headline coins, they can still sell for premium prices compared to face value. Part 11. The market value. Now let's talk about the current market. A normal 1983 penny is worth just 1 cent. But a verified 1983 double die obverse penny can bring anywhere from a few $100s in lower grades to tens of thousands in high mint state. A true 1983 copper planchet penny, authenticated and graded, has already reached $222,675 in auction and continues to be one of the most desired coins for Lincoln cent collectors worldwide. Part 12. Why collectors pay so much. You might wonder, why would anyone pay that much for a penny? The answer lies in rarity, history, and demand. Error coins are like hidden gems. They are pieces of history that weren't supposed to exist, and that makes them incredibly desirable. Add to that the fact that collectors of Lincoln cents are among the most dedicated in the hobby, and you have the perfect recipe for sky-high values. Part 13. Stories from collectors. There are real-life stories of people discovering rare 1983 pennies in pocket change, coin rolls, or old collections. Imagine walking into a coin shop with a penny you thought was ordinary, only to find out it's worth more than your car. These stories keep the excitement of coin hunting alive and inspire new collectors every day. Part 14. The legacy of the 1983 penny. The 1983 Lincoln cent is a reminder that treasure can hide in plain sight. Coins are more than just money, they are little pieces of history, art, and mystery. For the coin hobby, the 1983 penny is a legend, a symbol of how a tiny mistake at the U.S. Mint can lead to a life-changing discovery. Part 15. Closing and call to action. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins from modern American history, the 1995 D. Lincoln cent, also known as the 1995 Denver Mint penny. This is not just a 1-cent coin that you find in your pocket change, it is a coin that carries over a century of tradition, artistic design, American symbolism, and most importantly, a market value that might surprise you. Some examples of this coin have been selling for hundreds and even thousands of dollars, with rare and pristine pieces reaching incredible amounts up to $222,674. Stay tuned, because you will discover the history, the hidden value, and the secrets of this 1995 D. Lincoln penny. Part 2, Background of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny has been in continuous production since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin was originally issued to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln cent was revolutionary because it was the first widely circulating American coin to feature a real historical figure instead of a symbolic image. This tradition of honoring Lincoln continues to this very day, and the 1995 D penny stands as a proud continuation of this heritage. Part 3, the Denver Mint. And the D mark. The letter D under the date on the penny stands for the Denver Mint in Colorado. The Denver Mint is one of the most important facilities in the United States mint system. Millions of 1995 pennies were struck in Denver, but while the mintage was large, not all coins are equal. Quality, condition, and certain unique errors make some 1995 D Lincoln pennies stand out and become extremely valuable in the collector's market. This is why even a coin you think is ordinary can actually be worth far more than 1 cent. Part 4, Coin Design and Symbolism. The obverse, or front side, of the 1995 D Lincoln cent features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. The word liberty appears to the left of Lincoln, while the motto "In God We Trust" appears above. The date 1995, along with the mint mark D, sits to the right. On the reverse side, we see the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of unity and freedom, along with the words United States of America and 1 cent. This design was introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and continued until 2008. Every detail of this coin represents American values and history. Part 5, Historical Context of 1995. The year 1995 was a fascinating time in American history. It was a period of transition, technology was expanding, the internet was beginning to enter households, and the economy was growing. During this time, the penny remained a symbol of tradition in the midst of change. The Lincoln cent was still made primarily of copper-plated zinc, a composition that had been used since 1982. The 1995 D penny is both modern and historical, connecting us to the roots of the Lincoln cent and to the nation's past. Part 6, Coin Composition and Weight. The 1995 D Lincoln penny is composed of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. It weighs 2.5 grams and measures 19 millimeters in diameter. While these details might sound ordinary, they are critical for collectors because counterfeiters often fail to reproduce the exact specifications. Authentic 1995 D Lincoln pennies can be easily verified by checking their weight, size, and metallic content. Part 7, Common Circulation versus Collectors' Coins. Most 1995 D Lincoln pennies circulated widely in everyday commerce. You could find them in change at a grocery store, gas station, or bank. However, coins that avoided circulation, such as those kept in rolls or mint sets, are the ones that today hold the greatest value. Coins in mint state condition, especially those graded MS-67 or higher, can fetch astonishing prices at auctions. Part 8, Errors and Varieties. Error coins are what truly excite collectors. For the 1995 D Lincoln penny, one of the most famous varieties is the double die obverse. This error creates a doubling effect on the words liberty and in God we trust, making the letters appear thicker and shadowed. Such coins are rare and highly desirable. Some examples of double die errors in 1995 pennies have sold for thousands of dollars depending on condition. Part 9, Market Value of the 1995 D penny. Now let's get to what most of you are waiting for, the current market value. An average circulated 1995 D Lincoln penny might only be worth face value, just 1 cent. But uncirculated pieces in mint state condition can range from a few dollars to several $100s. The most pristine examples, graded at MS-69 or with special error features, have been known to sell for amounts that shock collectors. Some recorded sales have reached upwards of $222,674, making this tiny coin worth more than a luxury car or even a house in some parts of the world. Part 10, Auction Records. Over the years, auctions have revealed the hidden power of the 1995 Lincoln penny. Collectors from around the world bid aggressively for rare, flawless specimens. These auctions showcase how a simple penny can become a centerpiece of a world-class coin collection. Some of the highest values have been recorded when a coin is certified by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC, ensuring its authenticity and condition. Part 11, Why collectors love the 1995 penny. Collectors are drawn to this coin because it combines modern history, affordable entry for beginners, and potential for extraordinary value. You can find 1995 pennies in circulation even today, making it accessible to new hobbyists. At the same time, the thrill of discovering an error coin or a high-grade example makes it an adventure for advanced numismatists. Part 12, How to spot a valuable 1995 penny. To identify a valuable penny, start with condition. Look for coins that are shiny, uncirculated, and free of scratches. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling in the letters and numbers. If you suspect you have a rare error or a high-grade coin, consider having it graded by a professional service. Even a penny that looks ordinary might turn out to be worth thousands of dollars. Part 13, Protecting and storing your coins. If you own a valuable 1995 Lincoln penny, proper storage is essential. Use coin holders, capsules, or albums to prevent scratches and damage. Avoid touching the surface with bare fingers, as oils from the skin can reduce a coin's value. A little care can preserve your coin for generations and maintain its market worth. Part 14, The legacy of the 1995 penny. The Lincoln cent has been with us for over a century, and the 1995 penny continues that legacy. It represents more than just 1 cent, it embodies history, art, economy, and the story of America. Whether worth 1 cent or hundreds of thousands of dollars, this coin is a part of a tradition that connects us to the past and inspires future collectors. Part 15, Conclusion and Call to Action. So the next time you see a 1995 Lincoln penny in your pocket change, don't ignore it. Take a closer look, because it might just be a hidden treasure worth a fortune. Coins like these remind us that history is not only found in museums but also in the palm of our hands. Thank you for joining us here at USA Coins 1, where every coin has a story and every story has value. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1995 Lincoln penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your own coin discoveries in the comments below. Together, we will continue to explore the fascinating world of coins, history, and hidden value. Fire Taimur Ali. I wrote this as a full-length 15-part script that you can expand.